Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at the Lowe's out in Allen, Texas. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video, as well as following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. That's the fastest way to get in touch with me directly if you have any questions about any of the plants I feature or just want to connect with me in general. So this is actually the evening before Black Friday 2024. I decided that I wanted to make some content to actually present to all of our plant foldies. And for those that are new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome. This is actually one of my favorite Lowe's to go to because they typically have some great indoor and outdoor plants. They've got a lot of Costa Farms trending tropical plants that I love, as well as live trends and urban jungle plants. And you know, with Black Friday 2024, I wanted to see if they had any Black Friday specials. I'm curious if people actually shop Black Friday deals. So we're gonna walk in here and see what kind of plants that they have. You can see that it is the holiday season. We're seeing lots and lots of Christmas trees and just a lot of holiday decor. I don't typically actually decorate my house with holiday decor. If anything, I just end up splurging and buying more plants. And you can see right over here, we do have some of these poinsettias, $18.98. And you know, poinsettias are seasonal plants that typically show up in November as well as December. And it's interesting how they mix Epipremnum aureum as well as Hydra helix, or the English ivy, with the poinsettias. These ones are the little dish ones that they have available at most of the Lowe's. And you can see right over here, we've got some more poinsettias. These are all for $26.98. I'm thinking that they would actually have Black Friday deals on plants, or I really do wish that more big box stores would actually have huge Black Friday deals. I'm hoping that in the future, like places like Costa Farms would really have a huge Black Friday deal where like they could have their plants for like 50 to 60% off. That would be awesome. But as you can see right here, it is evening. I'm just glad that I am actually going to have that day off on Thanksgiving. You know, this is filmed a little bit later as I premiere this, but you can see that they have some amaryllis flowers right here, and these are really interesting seasonal flowers. I love the fact that this is a very low maintenance, easy to care for plant because you literally set the bulb on like a shelf next to a window. You don't even really have to water it. It will just grow, and it is a plant that you can plant into your landscape, and it would be something like that would be considered a perennial plant, something that will grow back year after year. But you can see beautiful blooms here. These are already in bloom. And you can see that this Lowe's has a lot of holiday decor. And I did want to ask our plant foldies, you know, what do you decorate your house with as far as holiday decor? Do you put up a Christmas tree? Do you put Christmas lights? Leave that down in the comments, because again, I love to interact with all of our plant foldies. I respond to pretty much every single comment that is left for me on the videos, and it just makes the community a little bit more fun. As you can see, I am just walking around and showing you a lot of these holiday plants. So we've got poinsettias, we've got Christmas cactus, we've got Norfolk pine, all of the things that you would typically see at a big box store around this time of the year. And we are going to go out here and I'm going to show you some more of these seasonal plants. So you can see that the outdoor section has a bunch of Christmas trees. These are typically like Italian stone pine or Norfolk pine. So we're just going to walk over here and I'm just going to show you what live Christmas trees they have available. You can see they've got quite a bit of selection in terms of living Christmas trees, as well as these succulent planters, these combination planters. You can see they've got a really nice selection here, and let's see how much it costs. That's not a bad price at all. And what I like about these succulents is it really takes the painstaking of actually having to make a combination of succulents. You have them all ready to go. All you have to do is actually replant them in a bigger pot. And you can see over here we do have some opuncias and we have some crown of thorns. Now with succulents, like I've said in all of my videos, common care tips would be definitely give them fast draining soil. So a succulent cactus mix, if you're going to repot them, make sure that they get lots of bright light, whether it's full sun or just a lot of light. And that's basically it. I know that there are certain ones that would prefer a little bit lower light conditions. I'm not the best at succulents and cactus as far as giving plant care tips, but what I do like doing is whenever I go to Lowe's, I do like to show you all of the succulents and cactus because we do have a lot of viewers that are into these types of plants. I wish I was exposed to more succulents and cactus as a kid. You know, a lot of my interest when it comes to like plants in general or the plants I want to grow are really influenced by my grandmother, and she didn't really grow a lot of succulents, although you can see this one right here is in bloom, and I always find plants in bloom and just, you know, plants that bloom really interesting. What's interesting about plants that bloom easily too is you can actually hybridize them and get even more variety of the plants. You can see that there's so many different types of succulents. They've crossbred them, they've hybridized them. There is a whole process when it comes to that, and you can see over here we've got some more succulents that are in bloom. Now, as far as plant shopping in the holidays, I do feel like I spend a little bit more money in terms of just buying plants. Actually, I've been splurging a lot on plants. For those that have been following my plant YouTube channel for quite a while, the last 2 months have just been a whirlwind of plant shows, and then just me going to nurseries, and then me seeing all of these plants on sale, and then also finding some rare and uncommon plant finds at big box stores. It makes it exciting, but at the same time, it also means that my wallet has created a huge hole and I am losing so much money. But you know, it's one of those things where you only live once. I suppose we can all be satisfied with some of the decisions we make with our money. I say if the plant does bring you joy, go ahead and buy it. You know, consider it a Christmas present to yourself or a treat. We all work very hard for our money. Although I would also say if you are going to go buy plants, try to buy them when they are budget friendly. And, you know, ways to save money on plants is, you know, for instance, if you go Black Friday shopping, sometimes, you know, local nurseries may have some really big plant sales, as well as, you know, looking for plants and just comparing and contrasting plant pricing. I know I go to a lot of big box stores, and you'll see that I pretty much have memorized what the plant pricing is for a specific plant. So if you haven't already and you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, that's where I'm based at, hit the subscribe button with the notification bell on. That way you're always in tune with all of the plants that are currently making it into the market, and you'll be in tune with the plant pricing. I think that's super important. And you can see I've walked through a forest of live Christmas trees. Now, I love the smell of live Christmas trees. I think there is such a nice holiday fragrance about them. I don't really know a lot about the care tips for the live Christmas trees. So for those that actually put up a live Christmas trees, let me know what you do to keep them alive during the holiday season, as well as what kind of like holiday decor or what kind of Christmas tree themes that you've actually created with your Christmas tree. I remember doing an origami Christmas tree theme where I basically folded a bunch of origami ornaments, and it was a really interesting and very cost-effective way as far as like Christmas decor was concerned. So you can see though, all of the big box stores, whether it's Home Depot, Lowe's, and I believe even Walmart, have some live Christmas trees. And what I love about going late at night, just going big box store plant shopping, is there's really not a lot of people out here, so I can freely roam around around and film and take that content. I try to respect people's privacy in terms of just not getting people in any of my plant shopping videos, because not everybody is really comfortable about being on social media. You know, people ask me all the time, and seriously, they really ask me all the time why I am not showing my face on YouTube. I would prefer to do a faceless YouTube. There's a lot of YouTubers out there that do faceless, and to me it becomes more of a focus on the plants versus me as an individual. Now, if I was doing like personal blogs or doing lifestyle stuff, that might be a little bit different, but really I want to have that, you know, that definite separation with my social media presence versus my day-to-day life. I think that we always have to create some boundaries, and for now I'm going to be faceless. Who knows, if you guys follow the Cultivation Corner podcast, for instance, I might do a face reveal there. And for those that haven't subscribed to the Cultivation Corner plant podcast, that is a collaboration project that I'm doing in terms of just talking about plants with my friends Janae Simone and Steven at I Lift Plants. So make sure you guys are subscribed to their channel. We have been working very tirelessly on that that plant podcast. Season 1 is fully filmed. We have it edited, and our debut, our premiere, will be on Monday, December 9th, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on my YouTube channel. Hopefully you guys will all tune in and really support our project. There's not a lot of plant podcasts out there. If you know of any plant podcasts, please leave it in the comment section. I would love to listen to some plant podcasts or even a plant show. It is a plant podcast / show. So I'm hoping that all of our plant content is going to really be entertaining for everybody. There is a lot of discussion on so many plant topics, but going back onto the actual plants that we have available here, you can see that there are some leftover plant containers, combination plant containers. We have a bunch of these alocasias, for instance, as well as just some of these outdoor plants that could be considered perennials. I saw a lot of this actually more so in October. You can see these are by Nature's Way for $34.98, and I really like that Asiatic jasmine. I like the variegation because it actually pushes out more of like an orange tone. And speaking of orange plants, orange flowers, I have been really getting into the color orange. Maybe it's because, you know, the fall season, was in full effect. We're about to head into winter, but seeing a lot of browns, yellows, oranges, I don't know. I started to really look at plants, specifically crotons, for instance, where they have a bunch of those different types of fall colors. And you can see right over here, we do have a bunch of Christmas trees, some smaller ones. These are for $27.98. And again, I love the fragrant smell of live Christmas trees. I think it really does remind us of the holiday season. But as you can see here, I'm just gonna walk around and just show you what other plants they have available in the outdoor section, as well as some of their holiday plants. And plant foliage, you can see that this Lowe's does have quite a bit of like seasonal decorations. You can see these little wooden reindeers, pretty cool looking display right here. And I'm just going to keep walking around and showing you some more holiday decor. Let me know in the comments what you think about some of the holiday decor. If you've already put up your Christmas tree, if you already put up all of your Christmas lights, all of that. I'd love to hear from you. The insights again from all of you guys, as far as just leaving commentary in the comment section, really bring me a lot of joy. I learn more about all of the viewers as well. And you can just see here, as far as the seasonal festive decor, I would say the live Christmas trees are definitely a plus because they do have that fragrant smell. And then just all of the seasonal things like this, you can decorate for sure in the holidays. And you can even see right over here, this one really does smell fragrant. This is only for $10.98. So I'd like to hear your comments or what you think about this. And as far as Black Friday shopping, I am curious to see if anybody did get some really good deals during Black Friday 2024. I actually splurged on a couple of things during Black Friday. Definitely got some really good plant products, for instance, and I even went to some of the local nurseries that were actually doing some Black Friday specials and got some really nice plants. I also did another plant import with a bunch of friends to see if we can get some really nice plants because they even had some Black Friday specials with some of these importers. So I love the fact that the holiday season, it is all about, giving plants, but I always feel like we should also treat ourselves when it comes to plants in the holiday season, as far as like Black Friday or even Christmas. Give yourself the gift of joy by buying yourself plants. And this is a reason why I do go to these big box stores and show you all of the plant shopping videos. I know that a lot of these plants are typical plants that you've seen in previous videos, but I love just talking about plants. And to all those that have actually taken the time to watch my videos, to engage with me during the live premiere chats, you already know who you are. Thank you so much. I hope we continue to have our little plant parties. Maybe talk about the plants that we've purchased recently, especially for Black Friday. You can see over here, we do have these Christmas cactus, $7.98. That is another type of plant I do want to add to my collection eventually. But, I've talked about downsizing plants, getting plants that are a little bit more curated, having specific plants that you want to add to your collection so you don't overwhelm yourself. And, as far as like the Christmas cactus, it is more of a want for me. It's something that I can hold off until I have all of my space actually organized and ready to go versus a need where you have to buy the plant right then and there. I already got my poinsettia for the season. It is a variegated poinsettia, which I actually bought at Lowe's for $9.98. And with poinsettias, they like to have their soil a little bit more moist, so you don't really want to let them dry out completely. It's one of those plants that is really grown for just the Christmas holiday season. So they're really popular for about 3 to 4 weeks, and then after Christmas Day, they become composted. That's really the sad reality with a lot of these seasonal plants. I don't really see a lot of people growing poinsettias long term after the holiday season. Leave it in the comments though if you do grow them as a house plant. I'm hoping that I could grow mine as a house plant even after the holiday season, and I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research when it comes to like getting the colors back in time for the holiday season. You can see right here, cosmic cactus. So these are cactus that are actually painted with these cosmic colors. I'm not really a fan of them, but as you can see here, they're not really that popular either. They are for any occasion. Maybe that might be your cup of tea, but for me, I like more naturally looking plants that haven't been dyed, plants that haven't been painted on. I do prefer plants that are just more natural looking, and I do understand that certain nurseries or plant shops want to experiment with being creative, but I just feel like that is just something that it depends on your plant aesthetics. And speaking of plant aesthetics, I am curious, plant foldies, let me know in the comment section as well if you have a specific type of plant you grow. You already know I've been talking a lot about like Aglaonemas. I love Aglaonemas. I believe everybody should add Aglaonemas to their plant collection. I just put in an order for several Aglaonemas to be imported in Indonesia, but please leave in the comments what plants you prefer to grow in your homes, what that aesthetic looks like. Because I like to learn more about all of our viewers and subscribers. We've been doing plant shopping videos, or at least I have been daily, or at least try to do daily for the past year. And I've really gotten to know some of you guys, and I've seen more people jumping on the live premiere chat. So if you are watching this video live, please leave in the comment section that you are there in the chats. I would love to chat with you guys, engage with you, and just get to know more about y'all. Now, as far as all of the plants that I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to be showing you a combination of live trends plants, for instance, Urban Jungle, and obviously Costa Farm plants. I think those are the main providers for big box stores like Lowe's. And I just wish though that they had more big box Black Friday plant specials. You know, a lot of people look at Black Friday, for instance, as just really splurging on like buying a TV or buying, you know, electronics. But do you guys agree that they should have even more Black Friday specials in terms of plants? Leave that in the comments. I know that I wouldn't mind getting like a variegated Monstera albo for like 50% off or something of that nature. I really think that that would actually get more of the plant community out shopping. I tend to actually avoid Black Friday shopping in stores just because there's so many people running around, and I don't really catch myself wanting to be up at 6 in the morning in line for like a TV. Now, you know, if the roles were reversed and there was like some type of like rare or uncommon plant that was on sale for limited amounts, maybe I might be in line for that. But yes, it is all about just being at the right place at the right time. And that even goes to show as far as like Black Friday, where you could be at the right place at the right time and then you can find like a really good deal. I just wish that there were just more plants on sale during Black Friday. I thought I would find some more on sale, but you know, clearly these plants are still full price. I love them, but would love to see more on sale just because I feel like everybody is on some type of plant budget. You know, the holiday seasons, we end up splurging a little bit more, or we end up spending a little bit more money. I know I have. And, you know, as far as the plant purchases I've done in the last 2 months, I don't really regret them. I've actually really increased my plant collection, but these are plants that I enjoy. These are plants that have become more of the easy care plants, aka Aglaonemas, pothos plants, you know, the plants that people would consider as basic plants, but to me basic is great. I say that in every video. I mean, you can see right there we've got a bunch of sansevierias, for instance. We've got some air plants right over here in this little owl planter. I think that's a really cool looking owl planter. These are by Live Trends, and this is for $6.98. And as far as Live Trends design, these planters are very modern looking. I just love the look of them, and I just feel like Live Trends design, that's really more of my niche or more of my aesthetics. I like very minimalistic planters, and the reason being is I like planters that are very minimalistic because then it would just really highlight the plant versus having something really busy where it might take away from the actual plant's beauty. You know, some people might disagree. Some people will say that, you know, having a planter that has a little bit more character actually accentuates the plant. I suppose it does, but it really just depends on the plant. Now, as far as these holiday plants, you know, Live Trends plants always are very seasonally relevant. Their planters are always seasonally relevant. I also see like Urban Jungle plants, for instance, being a little bit more seasonally relevant as well. But you can see right here they've got a little house. This one is for $8.98 with a air plant. Now, as far as air plants, I don't have a single air plant in my plant collection. I would possibly dabble into growing air plants. They're very easy, or at least that's what I've been told. As far as like watering an air plant, all you have to do is just submerge it in water, pull it out, let it dry out completely, and that is it. Now, if you have plant care tips for air plants, please leave that in the comments. But as you can see right here, this is one of my favorite syngoniums. This is a Syngonium Maria, and the Syngonium Maria has that dark foliage. I love dark foliage, but to keep that dark foliage, as I mentioned in a lot of my videos, you really want to give that plant a lot of bright indirect light. Now we're going to look at some of these Live Trend hanging ceramic baskets. I love this, and this is for $24.98. This is the green Marantha right over here, and even though the Maranthas, as compared to maybe a Calathea, is a little bit less finicky, it is still I wouldn't consider this a beginner plant. So if you are starting a houseplant collection, Maranthas look gorgeous. They've got great foliage, but I wouldn't recommend adding them into a plant collection, especially if you're a beginner, because they do require a little bit more humidity and more watering. And some people don't have the humidity levels in their home and maybe not have the time to actually water their plants on a consistent basis. Now, as far as a beginner plant or an easy care plant, Epipremnum aureum or Jade Pothos right here. This is for $24.98. Very easy to care for plant. It is a plant that I believe every plant collector should have. Same thing with the Philodendron Hederaceum Brazil. This is only for $24.98, and look at how healthy the leaves look. Now with the Philodendron Hederaceum Brazil, to really get a lot of that neon green coloration, you want to actually provide it with quite a bit of bright indirect light. It actually will push out more variegation, and that's what's interesting about plants. Certain plants are influenced by the amount of light you give it, whether their color is enhanced or their variegation is enhanced, while some plants, no matter how much light you give it, their color will also just be dictated by the initial genetics of the plant. For instance, this is a Marble Queen Pothos, $24.98. And with the Marble Queen Pothos, it does have that cream color on it. But the thing about Marble Queen Pothos is if you don't provide it enough bright indirect light, it tends to be more on the greener side, and it could eventually revert back to just being green. Syndapsis Silver Ann, this one is for $24.98 by Live Trends Design. This one is another plant that can tolerate lower light conditions. It is similar to a pothos plant, but I would say it is a little bit slower in growth as compared to a pothos plant. I still find it lovely. If you want more of a velvety silver texture, this is the plant you want to get. Sometimes it's also known as a silver pothos, even though they are not in the same plant genus. And then we have a Philodendron Hederaceum, just a green version. And again, I want to refer back to this. Like, I wish Live Trends Design actually had like Black Friday specials. Black Friday 2024, I was really hoping to get some really good deals at a big box store. So for those that actually ran into any Black Friday specials for plants, please leave that in the comments. I'm just curious what kind of sales may happen, because Black Friday should be all about getting some insane sales. And the only kind of sales I've seen at Black Friday would be like TVs or electronics. I just wish there was really more about the plants. So if anybody owns a nursery, or if you are one of those major providers, I would hope that maybe next year we can get some more really huge Black Friday specials. I know that on Instagram, there were a couple of sellers that have sold at PlantCon 2024, for instance, or even Texas Aeroid. That's where I got a lot of my Black Friday specials, is actually buying from local growers or people that had small businesses as compared to the big box store. You would think a big box store would actually have big Black Friday special deals, and I would say yes for electronics, but not necessarily for like the plants. And I just want to see more plants be on sale, because I just want to buy more plants, if that makes any sense. I am really spending quite a bit of money. I did ask in my last plant shopping video how much money that you've spent on plants in the last month. Thank you to those that actually left a comment, so I don't feel like I'm the only one that has spent pretty much a fortune in the last 2 months. But we're all in this together. I think a lot of us watch these plant shopping videos because we want to look at plants. And as you notice, I'm just picking up plants, not necessarily telling you the price or the plant care tips, because I feel like I've talked about those in previous videos. But I also just like utilizing these plant shopping videos to literally talk to you for about an hour or more about some of the plant insights. I think it kind of sparks interest in terms of plant conversations. And that's the reason why I'm really excited to launch with my friends Janae Simone and Steven at I Live Plants, our plant podcast, the Cultivation Corner. We have been posting a lot of little short previews on our Instagram account called the Cultivation Corner. And, I hope that you guys will follow us as well. Now, this is an interesting find. This is an urban jungle alocasia, but this is an alocasia Jacqueline, and this is only for $13.98. Now, alocasia Jacqueline isn't necessarily a plant I would necessarily recommend to anybody that's starting a houseplant collection, because it's one of the more challenging alocasias to grow. Alocasias in general are already challenging, but to see it as an urban jungle alocasia for only $13.98, really like that, considering Costa Farms has them as a trending tropical plant for $19.98. So if you want a smaller alocasia Jacqueline, you can just buy the urban jungle one for that price. And they also have a lot of these planters right here for $13.98. That is a Calathea lancifolia. And then we've got a Peperomia obtusifolia. This one is the variegated form. Really like this. And I do think that peperomias, especially the Peperomia obtusifolia varieties, tend to be a little bit overlooked, even though they are very durable plants. Like, they can tolerate being underwatered. And for those that don't know the term underwater, that means you're not necessarily watering the plant as consistent as you should, but it's still forgiving. Philodendron Moonlight, love this plant because it's got that neon colored leaves. Now with this particular philodendron, it does grow pretty large, so that's a plus for anybody that really wants a statement piece plant. And this is only for $13.98. To keep that neon variegation, you've really got to stay on top of the lighting conditions. It prefers a lot of bright indirect light. And then this is the classic Monstera deliciosa, but this is the juvenile form. This again is only for $13.98. I love Monstera deliciosas. I think they're super easy to take care of. They're the types of plants that you don't necessarily have to worry about growing. Like, there's not a lot of plant care tips for Monstera deliciosa. I would just say give them fast draining soil. Make sure you give them a moss pole, a totem pole, a plank, or some type of support because they need to grow up. And then you also need to make sure you are providing them with more bright indirect light. They can tolerate lower light conditions, but Monsteras in general are a little bit more vigorous when you give them more light. Now, this is a beautiful Sansevieria bird's nest, for instance, by Urban Jungle. Again, $13.98. And I'm going to pan over here and look at some of these bromeliads. You know, bromeliads in these little combination containers are really interesting. Love that as well. And then that is another plant that, you know, a lot of people overlook. And then as I pan away here, I'm just going to keep showing you the combination of Urban Jungle hanging basket plants as well as live trend plants, and then eventually start showing you guys Costa Farms plants. Please leave in the comments if you find any of these plants interesting or what your thoughts are, as well as hit the like button. I know that if you made it this far to the video, thank you so much for watching this far. But also, if you can, please hit the like button for this video. It definitely helps push this video out to more plant lovers like yourself. My goal is for December to really make it to 12,000 subscribers. You know, you guys have really helped me grow this channel, and I'm hoping by just a simple act of hitting the like button, it will push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself. But for now, I'm just going to keep walking around, picking up some plants. Feel free to leave in the comments, give timestamps about what plants you like. Again, this is the day before Thanksgiving, heading into Black Friday 2024. So this is just a couple of days past from when I filmed it. Like I said, again, I've been super busy with work, but I am still trying my very best to give you guys brand new, consistent plant YouTube videos. And hopefully you guys are appreciating my efforts. As much as I love looking at the plants, I also love looking at the planters at Lowe's. You know, these planters, they've got a really nice color story. So you've got the more cool colors and then the warmer colors right over here. They've got different types of patterns. I'll show you a couple of planters I would be into, like this one right here is more of a concrete gray type planter, and then I also like this one right here, this little neutral blue. Even though it has a little bit of a pattern, it's not too overwhelming. And then we have this right here. I love neutral colors like grays. And then this one right here for $15.98. I was actually thinking about buying it for one of my crawling philodendron, my philodendron gloriosum, since it needs more of a shallow, wider pot. That would be something I was thinking about getting to repot my philodendron gloriosum. And then you can see right here, I have yet to buy this planter. I should have bought it when it was on clearance. This one is a ginkgo biloba tree leaf planter. Love the shape of that. If you ask me my favorite types of trees, I love Japanese maples, but I also love ginkgo trees. Ginkgo trees are beautiful, especially in the fall when they actually turn yellow, and it just is a stunning plant. It's one of those plants though that not a lot of people also talk about, you know, the ginkgo tree. Let me know in the comments if you actually like Japanese maples or collect ginkgo trees. They are a more uncommon landscape plant, but I do feel like it's a very durable plant. Now, as far as the planters here, so you can see that they've got some very minimalistic planters, a little bit of texture, a little bit of color, but needless to say, love it a lot. And again, I want to ask all of our plant foldies watching this video, please leave in the comments what types of planters you prefer. Do you have a preference of color? Do you have a preference of texture? And then also, how do you display your plants? Do you display them on like plant stands? Do you have floating shelves on your walls? Do you have cabinets? What does that look like? I would really like to know, because, you know, me and my friend Janae Simone, she is an expert when it comes to plant styling. We were just talking about how certain planters or even the things that you use to display your plant really varies from person to person. And I've asked a lot of just insights as far as this plant shopping video is concerned. I think it's because I do think about all of our plant foldies. You know, I look for you guys whenever we are on the live premiere chat. There is a sense of community for sure on our Grow Folds channel. And I just like knowing more about your preferences for your plants. So please leave that in the comments. But as you can see here, this Lowe's has, you know, some, I wouldn't say this is a really packed Lowe's today. I think that they could have more plants, but as far as their selection, it's still okay. I mean, you can see here, we do have a bunch of these dendrobian orchids. Love dendrobian orchids as well. It is a different type of orchid as compared to like the Phalaenopsis orchid, but needless to say, $39.98, that is not a bad one at all. It is growing in a sphagnum moss substrate. Now with orchids, they are called epiphytes. So these are plants that like to attach themselves on tree bark. They don't necessarily grow their roots into soil. So as far as a substrate, you never really want to plant an orchid in potting soil mix. They don't really want to keep their roots wet either, because that's the fastest way to actually root rot a Phalaenopsis orchid or just orchids in general. If you're able to provide higher humidity, they're going to be happy. Now, like as far as Costa Farms, they do produce a lot of Phalaenopsis orchids. Phalaenopsis orchids are common, they are easy to find, and you know, they're not that hard to take care of. Now, as far as their bloom cycle, they typically bloom for about a month, maybe a little bit longer. And I do like the fact that Better Grow is a provider of more exotic orchids. So I'm just gonna pull this out here. You can see that they have these small orchids here. So if you're into orchids and you want to find a place to buy them, Lowe's is one of the big box stores that really provides lots of orchids. They even have the orchid supplies as far as like the orchid bark, which I use to mix into some of my my soil substrates whenever I actually want it to be more of a chunky soil mix. I have been really into growing a lot of my plants and transferring them into semi-hydroponic substrates like lechuzapon or leca, and I am still sad that they don't have lechuzapon available for Amazon Prime members like myself. I really need more of that, because lechuzapon or semi-hydroponic plants, they're just easier to take care of. I don't have to water them nearly as much. I could just put you know, water plant nutrients in the water reservoir, and I don't have to really worry about them being watered as consistently. Now, one plant I do love is this Dracaena White Jewel. This is by Urban Jungle again. And then this is another plant that can grow fairly large, but it's so underrated. And I think that's a reason why I do a lot of these big box store plant shopping videos, because number one, you will see a lot of the plants that you would commonly see at a big box store. And then number two, just getting that awareness about what plants you want to add to your plant collection based on the care needs. Like that Ficus elastica Finicky, that's actually intermediate type plant to grow. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a beginner plant, but it's not a hard plant either. What makes it a little bit challenging is just the lighting conditions. You have to provide it with more light. Now that's a beautiful Syndapsis Silver Ann right here, a Live Trends hanging basket. And then as I pan up here, you can see we've got lots of Phalaenopsis orchids. As far as big box stores are concerned, again, during the holiday season, a lot of big box stores don't always get restocks, and that's why it's exciting to find restocks at a big box store like Lowe's, for instance, because you know the weather is a little bit colder, so transferring some of these plants like this beautiful staghorn fern might be a little bit challenging. You know, some nurseries are a little bit weary in terms of like shipping during the holidays. I'm actually taking a bit of a risk by importing plants from Indonesia, because I'm hoping that when they do get to the United States, that they wouldn't get stuck in transit somewhere where there's really extreme cold weather. As far as my experiences importing plants, I haven't had any negative experiences. All of my plants have always come in healthy. Some people say that it's super risky to import plants, but to me, it's actually gotten me some of the more uncommon plants that I wouldn't find, especially when it comes to Aglaonema, which we will be discussing later on to this video. You know, if there was a plant that I would love to see as a big sale during Black Friday 2024, it would definitely be Aglaonemas. I just wish like Costa Farms would make them like 50% off. I would buy multiples. You know, that's the thing about plants. Certain plants I don't mind having multiples of. Some people will say, you know, try to limit yourself from having multiple plants simply because of the space constraints. But to me, I could always have like an Aglaonema red Siam. As common as it is so easy to take care of. I don't mind having multiples of, as well as like the pothos plants, any type of pothos, marble queen pothos, golden pothos, definitely neon pothos. Those are plants that I could have multiples of, and I'm actually propagating a lot of my pothos plants. I've really taken a lot of cuttings. A lot of my cuttings I took about 2 weeks ago ended up rooting, and so I'm debating on whether I should put them in lechuza pond. Probably not lechuza pond, but maybe leca, to see if I would have even better growth for them. Leave in the comments if you've actually propagated pothos and have actually grown them in leca. I'd like to know that as well, and I'd like to know if a lot of our plant foldies are actually growing plants in semi-hydro substrates like lechuza pond or leca. Now over here, I am picking up some African violets, $5.48. Now African violets, a lot of people will say that's like the grandmother plant. For me, African violets are actually interesting because they do have a lot of different types of blooms and even the velvety texture of the leaves. I would say African violets, though, you do not want to get the leaves wet. That's one way to rot them. And then as far as African violets, you want to keep them more on the moist side. Now, bromeliads, that's the same thing. You want to keep them more on the moist side, but what I like about bromeliads is if you run into the ones with the pinks and the really colorful patterns, I just find them interesting, like this one right over here. This is one I wouldn't mind adding to my plant collection, because who doesn't like pink plants? Who doesn't like pink plants that look like this? As far as bromeliads, I don't have any more in my plant collection. There was one bromeliad I had that I found for a really good sale price, but it ended up dying, or at least going to plant heaven, because I didn't water it for like a month and a half. And you know, that's me being very transparent. There are certain plants that if you know needs to be watered, I would say place it in an area that is a little bit more accessible, whether it's on your kitchen window or near your bathroom. I mean, that could be said about like calatheas, for instance. Like I have one more calathea, and it's the Calathea dotty. I just recently actually trimmed a lot of the brown crispy leaves there. I told myself I would probably water my Calathea dotty every other day, because it's going to really prefer that more moist soil. So as far as you know, plants that need more water, for instance, this one right here is a Snow White waffle plant. I love it. but it's such a diva. It is a plant diva. That one is for $5.98. And then we have a Belgian waffle plant here. This one doesn't have the pinks. This has more of the caramel tan overtones or undertones on the leaves. $5.98 at Costa Farms Exotic Angel. And you can see waffle plants. Love the texture. It's really crinkly, but these plants need a lot of water and they need a lot of humidity. So there's just a lot going on with those plants. And the same thing with this Fittonia right here. This is a Fittonia Red Ann by Costa Farms. $5.98, and unfortunately it is one of those plants that is very finicky in terms of the watering. These are plants that you would probably need to either put in a greenhouse or some type of terrarium setting, because as far as like the humidity, if they don't have that humid environment, a lot of their leaves end up getting a little bit crispy. Like I would love to be able to grow a Fittonia plant, but this Fittonia plant right there, I already know if I put it in my home, it's going to end up becoming crispy brown because I just will not water it as often. Now this is one plant I was really tempted to buy during my plant shopping excursion during Black Friday 2024. This is for $16.98. This is an Epipremnum aureum Pearls and Jade, or a Pearls and Jade pothos. Love this as well, and I do prefer the 6-inch hanging baskets by Costa Farms. I've said this in all my videos whenever I feature hanging baskets by Costa Farms. It just tends to be less surface space. You know, the 8-inch ones are nice, but these ones are a little bit more manageable. Now, as far as the Pearls and Jade pothos, surprisingly, I don't actually own a Pearls and Jade pothos, so that's something I want to add. You know, as far as pothos plants, I do have the common ones. I've gotten some uncommon ones and rare ones. I was able to acquire a couple of Japanese pothos, for instance, the Taruna World Series. I want more of those Japanese pothos. Let me know in the comments if you actually have some Japanese pothos. They are exquisite, and I love the very small nuances in detail of some of those pothos plants. This one though, that's the OG original pothos. That was the jade pothos, and then we have a golden pothos right here. Now these are the 8-inch baskets by Costa Farms for, actually no, these are the 6-inch ones for $16.98. I think that's a fair price. Like I said again though, I wish Costa Farms would have like a massive Black Friday special deal where all of their plants end up being like 50 to 60% off. That would be amazing. And I feel like Costa Farms could do something like that because they have so many plants available to purchase. And I appreciate Costa Farms. You know, there are some people who have their opinions about Costa Farms or one of the, you know, the bigger nurseries. Some people say that those bigger nurseries take away from small businesses or local businesses. To me, it really just depends on the areas that you live in. Not everybody can buy plants at a small business or a local nursery. And this time of the year, or even just in general, I believe that plants have become equalized to where the plant pricing is very much similar, whether it's a big box store or a local nursery. Maybe some local nurseries might sell their plants a little bit more pricey, but then again, you're also getting a higher quality plant in a sense that the local nursery is going to spend more time taking care of the plants versus the big box store. Now, if you're going to ask me whether big box stores just neglect their plants, no, because I've seen this particular Lowe's, for instance, water their plants, they get rid of their plants that are not that healthy, and there's a certain level of care, but it really just varies from, you know, big box store to local nurseries. Plant pricing is also varies. What doesn't vary for me though is how gorgeous this Philodendron Hederaceum Neon is. Love it. I ended up buying an 8-inch planter because that is another plant that I don't mind having multiples of, and that is just another plant that I could add many of them in my collection. Same thing with the Neon Pothos. This one is also for $16.98. Really love the look of this plant. That is another plant that, you know, I feel like is a classic houseplant. This Neon Pothos, like, look at how gorgeous the leaves are. And while people will say this is a basic plant, I will reiterate the fact that at least on this plant channel, basic is amazing, basic is great, basic is what everybody needs. Take it back to the basics, because basics will find you the solution you need for your plants. Now, as far as philodendrons, Philodendron tortum. This one is for $19.98. Love the look of a philodendron tortum. I actually ended up getting one of these because these are the larger size ones by Costa Farms, and they were only for $19.84. I'm going to pull a couple more out and just show you. Let me know in the comments what you think about the philodendron tortum. That's one plant that is very funky. Look at the texture of the leaves, and I'm just glad that it's readily available now at a big box store. And you can see I'm pulling up all of these interesting, easy to care for plants. This is a philodendron heteroraceum green form. And as I pan away, you can see that there is the neon form as well. I would like to add both to my plant collection because they're easy. You can see this is a lipstick plant. And then we have a Dracaena fragrans right here. Now this is for $12.98. And with the Dracaena fragrans, I know not everybody's running to get this plant, but this plant can grow fairly large. It is low light tolerant, drought tolerant, very much not as susceptible to pests either. So that's a plant that I would recommend you growing in your plant collection. And then you can see over here, ZZ plant. This one is from Costa Farms. I believe this is for $30.98. Now, ZZ plant is probably one of the easiest plants you could ever grow because they don't really need to be watered. Like you can literally not water them for a month or two and they will still do fine. Clearly, if you're watering them more on a consistent basis, like waiting for the soil to dry out completely and watering them, they will grow a little bit more of a vigorous pace, but it is a very forgiving plant. And for me, I need forgiving, easy care plants just like this. So I'm going to spend some time because this is my favorite plants to feature. $15.98. This is an Aglaonema red Siam. You already know if you are going to watch a Grow Folds plant foldy video, you will see Aglaonemas. And I have to ask anybody that has watched my videos, have you bought an Aglaonema? Have you bought an Aglaonema? If you haven't bought an Aglaonema, why have you not bought an Aglaonema? This is only for $15.98. Super easy to care for plant. And when I say Aglaonemas come in so many different varieties, I just wish the United States would get the varieties of Aglaonema that I could see from Indonesia or Thailand or a Southeast Asian country, because you can see that even Costa Farms, they've made it somewhat accessible to get more of these colorful Aglaonema. I mean, take a look at this one right here. Super gorgeous one. This is one that I ended up buying. This was for $19.98. This is a trending tropicals plant, but you can see we've got different varieties of color on the same one. This is the golden fluorite Aglaonema, and you know, with the Costa Farms one, there's typically 2 to 3 plants on their Aglaonema, so you'll get a lot for your money as well. And you know what I like about Aglaonemas is that they actually grow pups. As far as like the care conditions for Aglaonemas, I would say still provide them with more bright indirect light, especially for the more colorful ones like this, and also water when the soil is completely dry. Aglaonema do not like to be overwatered. So for those that are not overwaterers, this is the perfect plant for you. Now, if you are an overwaterer, you've really got to control yourself from watering the Aglaonemas more often because they are susceptible to root rot. They're very much so drought tolerant. And then you can see over here, $15.98 again by Costa Farms. This is a Calathea Green Goddess. Love it as well, but unfortunately, as beautiful as Calatheas are, I can't grow them. But they do have a new crop of Calatheas that they have released out at big box stores. That's typically what you would see from, say, Costa Farms. Once you see one plant get released at, say, a Lowe's, you can almost bet that that particular plant species is going to be seen at multiple Lowe's locations or multiple big box stores. I'm always happy to see new releases. I mean, this one right here, we have a chameleon ZZ plant. Love this. I ended up buying one of these because I do love ZZ plants. The ZZ plants I currently own would be the green version, the Raven ZZ, and the chameleon ZZ. I am looking for the variegated ZZ plant that's really expensive, as well as the ZZ Zen Z plant, the more compact ZZ plant. The thing about this Costa Farms trending tropical plant, this chameleon ZZ for $19.98, is you see how it's got that really light yellow new growth. In order to really maintain that, you've really got to provide it with more bright light. What happens is if you don't provide this ZZ plant light, bright indirect light, it will revert back to more of a green tone. So that's the thing about ZZ plants. Even though they are drought tolerant and low light tolerant for the more colorful ones, you definitely want to make sure that you're providing it with more light. Otherwise, it's going to end up reverting on you. But for $19.98, that's not bad. I just, like I said again, you know, for somebody that is going out and filming the day before Thanksgiving, hoping to see some Black Friday specials, Black Friday 2024, I haven't really seen anything that would wow me at, say, Lowe's right now. Like I said again, the only thing that wows me is the fact that this Lowe's has some really good merchandising, and they've got some really good selection of plants. Like this right here, $15.98, Aglaonema Maria. That is another classic plant. That is an easy to care for plant. And even though it's just got the green color on it, don't sleep on this plant. This plant is amazing in a sense that it's just so easy to take care of. And when you think about the plant pricing as well, $15.98 is not a bad price or an asking price for this plant. Let me know in the comments if you've actually bought Aglaonema from Lowe's, like Costa Farms Aglaonemas. I am a huge fan. Every single Aglaonema I picked up today to show you on this video, I probably own multiples of, and I am super happy about it because none of them give me trouble. They're super easy, and I'm hoping that at some point in the spring or summer, when they push out more pups, I'll be able to share that with the plant foley community. You can see right over here, we do have a Norfolk pine. It's really a tropical type plant, although it is kind of masked as like a Christmas tree plant, a plant that you would think would be out in the snow, but that actually comes from the Norfolk Island. And then you can see over here, we do have these Alocasia jacquelines for $19.98. I mean, it's got a beautiful leaf. It's very interesting. It's just so challenging to grow. I've even tried to grow this in Lechuza Pond, and it just hasn't worked out for me. Osmocote Plus, that is a fertilizer, a slow release fertilizer I would recommend. This one is for $15.97. I would recommend that pretty much as an all-purpose fertilizer for any plant. It does slow release, so it's not going to burn the plant, and that plant is going to be consistently given nutrients. And that's the thing, if you ever want to like see your plant thrive, I mean, I would say over fertilization is really not a good thing for your plant. It'll end up burning it, but even having very small trace amounts of fertilizer in every watering will actually help your plant grow at a larger size, or just be more healthy. Like this right here, this is another Alocasia jacqueline. Like I would love it if I could actually grow it, but that's a plant that, as tempting as it is, I'm just never going to add to my plant collection just because I don't have the specific space or the conditions to be able to grow this long-term sustainably. But as far as the Aglaonema and also the ZZ plant right here, these are plants that I know I could grow for a long time, and they're just easy care plants. You have to go for the easy care plants, plant foldies. Anybody watching my channel, as much as we might want to collect more of the variegated forms of plants, easy care is the way to go. Like this right here, I love this Aglaonema. I don't know the specific Aglaonema name or plant ID for this, so if you do know, please leave that in the comments. But I love the white stems on this Aglaonema. There are two really nice plants here for $15.98. And this is just an Aglaonema. I feel like, Costa Farms has really produced. It's a beautiful metallic looking plant. It's a plant that can tolerate lower light conditions. So even though you put it in a lower light condition, it's still going to give you some beautiful colors. And, that's the thing I will have with Costa Farms. I just wish Costa Farms would continue to push out more Aglaonemas. I'm always on the hunt for Aglaonemas, so even seeing all of these Like this one right here is the OG most common Aglaonema, but needless to say, it's still beautiful. $15.98. This is the Aglaonema Silver Bay. Definitely like this, and it does get really large as well. The only drawback about Aglaonemas is that they're not fast growers, so it takes a little bit of time for them to really get the size. But as far as being an Aglaonema collector, I will say that I am an Aglaonema collector. I don't mind the wait. Aglaonema Mystic Silver. So I am going to buy an Aglaonema Mystic Silver, even though I already have one. And the reason why I like it is look at the white stems. But if you look at that green and that minty green variegation on it, it's such a beautiful plant. And it has little, traces of yellow. You can see that this Aglaonema does have some blooms emerging. What you want to do with the blooms of an Aglaonema is to actually cut it off, because it's really going to stunt the Aglaonema's growth if you let the blooms just bloom, because it takes so much energy for the plant to produce a bloom versus that energy being focused onto growing leaves. But as far as these two Aglaonemas Mystic Silver, let me know which one you would buy, which one you would pick, this one or the one I picked up. This one actually doesn't have the white stems on it. The other one does. And so it's just interesting, like how there's even those mutations, or just how the plant grows. I don't know if it's necessarily based on the lighting conditions that this Aglaonema is provided, but what I will say is Costa Farms is doing an awesome job just making more of these Aglaonemas available. I hope by next year they'll even have more varieties of Aglaonemas coming. I did notice that there's some more Aglaonemas that are making it into the market. I think Kroger, which I will go plant hunting for, has the Tropic Treasures series, and they just recently released the red vein Aglaonema. So that's something that I hope to acquire in the next 2 weeks. You know, it's interesting how I give myself a timeline on what plant I want to try to acquire, but that would be definitely a plant I would want to get. And as you can see right here, I'm just showing you all of these silver green Aglaonema that they have. And that's the thing, if you go to Lowe's, you could just say, I'm going to go ahead and go big box store plant shopping, go Black Friday shopping, and just buy these plants, even though they're going to be at full price. At least you will have an Aglaonema collection. And I say this to everybody watching. Go ahead and buy yourself an Aglaonema, or even get yourself a ZZ Chameleon plant. Just get a plant that is easy to care for. Once you get that plant to thrive in your care, maybe start adding, more advanced plants. Or if you want to invest in a more rare or variegated plant, you can do so, but at least stick to the basics and try growing the easy care plants and the plants that are more cost effective. I would say Costa Farms plants, they tend to be cost effective. If you find them on a sale, or if you find them on clearance at Lowe's, you'll save even more money. But as far as Aglaonemas, typically if you find Aglaonemas within the range of like $10 being really inexpensive to as high as like 30, then that's a pretty good range for the more common varieties of Aglaonemas. So just to give you a basis of what those plants are, but that's a golden floret, for instance, and then we have more of these plants. I'm just going to keep walking around and showing you and panning you more of these plants by Costa Farms. And you can see there are so many beautiful Costa Farms plants today, this evening. I am going to definitely buy one Aglaonema. That's going to be the Aglaonema Mystic Silver, even though I've got doubles of it. But as I said before, sometimes you just end up buying plants that just bring you joy, and that definitely brings me joy. I did want to show you some more of the Aglaonema. So this is the Aglaonema Maria. We've got the Aglaonema Red Siam over here. Look at how gorgeous that red border is. We got the Aglaonema. I don't know the plant ID 100%, so please leave that in the comments. We've got an Aglaonema Silver Bay, and then we've got the Aglaonema Mystic Silver that I'm going to buy today, and then we have the Aglaonema Golden Floret. So hopefully everybody has enjoyed this video today. Please hit the like button. Let me know what Black Friday specials you got this year, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel at Grow Folds. I'll have a brand new video for you tomorrow. Bye.